When a twin flame connection begins to awaken, especially in the divine masculine, it doesn't just stir emotions or thoughts. It touches the body in ways that can be surprising, confusing, and even overwhelming. This is because a true twin flame bond isn't a surface level attraction or a fleeting infatuation. It's a deep, energetic recognition, one that stirs the very core of a person's being. The divine masculine, whether in a man or a woman, is often the one who carries the energy of focus, action, and structure. But when this connection comes alive, the masculine finds their carefully maintained order disrupted. The soul begins to whisper truths that the mind can't ignore, and this awakening sends ripples through the nervous system, the heart, and even the muscles and skin. It's important to understand that these symptoms are not signs of weakness or losing control. In reality, they are proof that something extraordinary is happening beneath the surface. They show that the soul has started its transformation and the body is responding. Now, we'll explore 7 of the most common physical symptoms that appear when the divine masculine is activated in a twin flame connection. Each one is a clue that something much bigger than logic is at play, something that's rewriting the inner blueprint of who they thought they were. 1. A surge in heart activity. One of the first and most striking physical signs is a noticeable shift in heart activity. This can feel like an increased heart rate, fluttering sensations, or even sudden warmth in the chest area. Sometimes it comes on during direct contact with the twin flame, whether that's in person, through a voice, or even in thought. For the divine masculine, this can be unsettling at first. They may wonder if it's anxiety, excitement, or simply adrenaline. But the truth is that the heart chakra is opening in ways it never has before. This is the body's way of creating more space for unconditional love, something the masculine energy often struggles to embrace fully due to societal conditioning. What's happening physically is tied to the release of emotional barriers. The heart is both a physical organ and an energetic center, and during twin flame activation, the energetic heart expands. This expansion sends a flood of signals through the nervous system, which the brain interprets as physical sensations. It's not unusual for the masculine to experience this in waves, sometimes subtle, sometimes intense. These sensations can also come unexpectedly, even when they're alone, triggered simply by remembering their twin or feeling their energy from afar. To ease the intensity, grounding practices help. Deep breathing, time in nature, and light physical exercise can balance the surge. The goal isn't to suppress the sensation, but to allow it to flow through without panic. Over time, the masculine learns that these heart surges aren't a threat. They're an initiation into deeper love and emotional courage. The 2, restlessness and sleep disruptions. When the divine masculine's energy is activated, sleep patterns often change dramatically. Nights that were once peaceful can turn into hours of tossing, turning, or waking up at odd times. For some, dreams become incredibly vivid, almost too real to dismiss. These dreams often carry emotional weight, filled with symbolic encounters, powerful emotions, and a lingering sense of connection to their twin flame. The restlessness isn't just mental, it's energetic. The activation stirs the kundalini energy, which rises through the chakras and creates a subtle buzz in the body. This can make it feel almost impossible to fully relax. The masculine may find themselves waking at the same times repeatedly, often in the early morning hours, as if the soul is nudging them awake for reflection. On the surface, it can feel frustrating, especially for those who value a solid night's rest. But this disruption is part of the adjustment process. The body is recalibrating to hold more light, more awareness, and more emotional depth. Sleep becomes less about unconscious rest and more about processing the flood of new sensations, feelings, and spiritual insights. Simple changes can help, keeping a notebook by the bed to record dreams or restless thoughts, practicing relaxation breathing before sleep, and reducing mental stimulation at night. The goal is to work with the body's needs rather than fight them. Over time, the masculine often notices that these disrupted nights come in phases. There will be weeks of restless energy, followed by deep, almost healing sleep. Both states are necessary for the transformation process, like tides moving in and out, each serving its role in reshaping the inner self. 3. Sudden heat surges and energy waves. Another common and often confusing symptom is the sudden rush of heat through the body. This can happen during physical proximity to the twin flame or even during thoughts of them. Sometimes it manifests as flushed cheeks, a warm spine, or tingling in the hands and feet. From a spiritual perspective, this is energy moving at a faster pace than the body is used to. When the twin flame connection activates, the masculine's energy system begins to run at a higher frequency. The body, still grounded in its old patterns, needs time to adjust to this new speed. The result is these bursts of heat, almost like the body's way of burning off resistance. There's also a link to the Kundalini process. The divine masculine may not even know what Kundalini energy is, yet their body instinctively begins the awakening process. Heat moves upward, often starting from the lower spine and traveling toward the heart and head. It can feel exhilarating, but also slightly overwhelming if it happens without understanding. Cooling breaths, gentle stretching, and hydration can help keep these heat surges comfortable. What's most important is not to fear them. They're a sign of alignment, a physical proof that the masculine is tuning into the twin flame's energetic field and starting to match it. In the long run, these heat surges usually become less intense as the body adapts. What starts as a startling rush of warmth becomes a gentle, reassuring hum of energy that feels natural and even grounding. 4. Heightened senses. When activation begins, the divine masculine often notices that their senses, sight, hearing, smell, touch, even taste, feel sharper than before. Colors might look more vivid, scents more noticeable, and sounds more layered. This isn't just a trick of the imagination. The nervous system is literally becoming more sensitive to external input as a result of energetic alignment. This heightened perception serves a purpose. It helps the masculine notice synchronicities, patterns, and subtle cues from the universe that they might have previously ignored. For example, a familiar scent might trigger a powerful emotional response, or a song playing unexpectedly could feel deeply personal. On a biological level, this sensitivity can feel like sensory overload at times. Crowded spaces, loud noises, or strong smells might suddenly feel overwhelming. The masculine may crave solitude or quieter environments without fully understanding why. The best approach is to honor this sensitivity rather than push against it. Spending time in natural settings can help balance the influx of sensory information. Being mindful of diet and hydration also supports the nervous system's ability to adapt. As the connection deepens, the masculine begins to see these heightened senses not as an inconvenience, but as a gift. They open the door to a more present, aware way of living, one that connects the physical and spiritual worlds seamlessly. Changes in appetite and eating patterns. A surprising physical shift that often accompanies activation is a change in appetite. For some, hunger increases dramatically. For others, food loses its appeal altogether. These changes are linked to the body's energy demands as it processes the emotional and spiritual upgrades brought on by the connection. Increased appetite can happen when the body burns through energy quickly to integrate new emotions and sensations. On the other hand, a loss of appetite can occur when the emotional intensity is so strong that it suppresses physical hunger. The divine masculine may also notice cravings for specific foods, often fresh, natural options like fruits, vegetables, or lighter meals. This is the body's way of requesting fuel that's easier to process while working through energetic changes. It's important to listen to these cues without judgment. Forcing old eating patterns can make the body's adjustment harder, while ignoring hunger can drain energy reserves. Instead, tuning into what the body truly wants, whether that's a hearty meal or just water and fruit, helps the process flow more smoothly. Over time, these appetite shifts usually stabilize. Eating becomes less about routine and more about genuine nourishment, both physically and energetically. The masculine often emerges from this phase with a healthier, more intuitive relationship with food. 6. Unexplained aches and muscle tension. During activation, the divine masculine might experience aches, stiffness, or muscle tension that seem to have no clear cause. This can show up in the shoulders, neck, back, or even in the legs. Sometimes it feels like the body is carrying a weight that wasn't there before. Energetically, this tension often comes from the release of stored emotions. The masculine's body is processing years of suppressed feelings, grief, fear, longing, even joy, that now have a reason to rise to the surface. The muscles tighten as part of this release process, almost as if bracing for change. From a more practical perspective, these aches can also be the result of the nervous system adapting to higher energy flow. The body is rewiring itself, and that can create temporary physical discomfort. Gentle movement helps: yoga, stretching, or even light walking. So does staying hydrated and resting when needed. The aim is not to force the body to perform as it used to, but to give it space to transition. In time, these aches often fade, replaced by a sense of lightness in the body. The release of physical tension mirrors the release of emotional blocks, making it a powerful, if sometimes uncomfortable, part of the awakening process. 7. A pull in the solar plexus and gut area. Perhaps one of the most profound physical sensations is the pull or tightness felt in the solar plexus area, the space just above the navel. This sensation can range from a gentle flutter to a deep, almost magnetic tug. It's often strongest when the twin flame is near, thinking about them, or when the connection reaches a new level of intensity. This area of the body is tied to personal power, confidence, and emotional truth. For the divine masculine, activation in the solar plexus often signals that the soul is pushing them to step into authenticity. It's as if the body is saying, "You can't pretend anymore. You have to face this." On a spiritual level, the pull in this area is also a sign of the cord-like energetic connection between twin flames. It's the body's way of registering that the bond is real and active, even if logic tries to argue otherwise. To navigate this, it helps to stay mindful of posture, breathing, and body awareness. Sitting in stillness and placing a hand over the solar plexus can create a sense of reassurance, allowing the energy to flow without resistance. As the masculine grows into this awakening, the pull becomes less of a discomfort and more of a grounding reminder, a sign that they are connected to something greater than themselves, and that they are being guided to align with it fully. These physical shifts can feel strange, even unsettling at times, but they are not here to harm you. They are proof that something powerful and rare is unfolding in your life. Every flutter in the heart, every restless night, every surge of energy is a sign that your soul is waking up to its fullest truth. For the divine masculine, this is a call to step into deeper strength, not the kind that comes from walls and defenses, but the kind that grows from openness, vulnerability, and trust in the journey. You are not losing yourself. You are discovering more of yourself than ever before. And with each step, the connection that began this awakening will continue to shape you into the person you were always meant to be.